Hi, back with another one of my regular tips on property finance. What's it about today? Refinance down valuations. So, if you've ever had a property that you're trying to refinance down value, or you're worried that you might get one, keep watching this video. So if you're running a buy to hold strategy, buy it, do it up, rent it out and refinance it, at the back end of the cycle you're going to need to get a mortgage lender's value around there to revalue the property, and this is where you can sometimes get a problem. Let me give you a typical example. It would be that you bought this property, paid £100,000 for it, you spent about $20,000 doing it up, and you've gone out and got some good, solid, sold comparables, and that tells you that other properties are sold for $150,000. So yours must be worth that too. So you put your mortgage application in, round comes the mortgage lender's valuer, and when you get the report back, now's where it falls apart a bit, because the valuation comes back not at 150 but 125,000. So the cash you were expecting to get out of the deal actually is still stuck in it, and if it's still stuck in it, potentially that could derail your plans for your future projects. If that happens too many times, well, you could be out of the game, really, couldn't you? So that's the key thing, really, is to understand that it happens, why it happens, and what you can do about it. Now, the reality is that mortgage lenders, valuers don't place anywhere near as much importance on sold comparables as investors think they do. So here's the fundamental reason I believe why refinance down valuations happen. It's an over-reliance on behalf of the investor of sold comparable values, and an under-reliance of providing a solid body of evidence for the value you've added to that property since you bought it. Now, I think there's a phrase that says you have to walk a mile in another man's shoes to really understand how they think and feel, or something of that nature. It's a very old thing. Now, here's the point. Unless you really get how a mortgage lender's valuers think, you're just going to trip over, because they do things that you're not expecting them to do. So the issue is here that mortgage lenders' valuers are not focused on sold comparables. They're focused on what you've paid for the property recently, within the last few weeks or last few months, and what you've done to it to improve the value since you bought it. So yes, they would look at sold comparables, because any valuation report has got sold comparables, but that's not the big focus. The big focus is on, okay, we know what you paid for it, we know that, so so you paid 100 for it, you say it's worth 150, show us where you've added £50,000 to the value. And in too many cases, this body of evidence is too flimsy, so it's not compelling, and if it's not compelling, then it's going to get downvalued. So you see, when the agents when the valuer is driving to your property, all they're interested in is, well, we know what you paid for it, and we know the property market hasn't risen since then, so it's got to be worth pretty much what you paid for it, unless we can see compelling evidence in the property of why we should value it for more. So that's the issue, really. So the key thing is to provide a clear body of evidence to support the fact of the value you've added. Now, the good news is that if you support that body of evidence, well, it doesn't guarantee a good valuation, and no one would suggest that it does. But it is going to make it more likely that a valuer would feel comfortable in giving you a higher value, because they've got justifiable reasons to do so. Now, if you found this tip useful, then there's a bundle of other stuff on my YouTube channel. So just click the link on this page and go and look at some other ones. And hey, I release these regularly, so if you don't want to miss any, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So there we are. That's today's tip. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you soon.